Hello, friends. Michelle here from The Earth Student, and I am here to share a little bit more with those of you that don't know, or you may be unfamiliar, maybe you don't have the whole picture. What is The Earth Student? And from that, then I will share more with you about our Patreon. So stick around. The Earth Student is an educational platform that Ralph and I kind of co-created to bring people experiential education. Education that is visceral, that's tactile, that empowers you to deepen your intimacy with nature. So we cover topics that are quite, for some people, what they might say broad, but for us, they are all encompassing. And the thread that weaves them all together is our individual and very unified, innate spiritual connection to nature. And so some of the topics and themes that you will see us cover go from regenerative gardening, food forestry, permaculture, which some people will say that those are the same thing, herbalism, Florida native plants, plant-spirit communication, eco-awareness, deep ecology, forest bathing, grounding, gardening therapy, flower essences, earth essences of all kinds, energetic medicine, and gosh, I would say even urban farming we have experiences with, and sometimes we'll touch on soil health and vitality, inner and outer landscapes, right? All of those seem like so much, but they really are unified. And that unity is the foundation of the Earth Student, which is how can we in this modern era rebuild our spiritual connection to the land in very practical ways. So I realized a few years ago that if my spirituality wasn't practical, then it couldn't work for me. I was doing all kinds of ornate practices that I felt were going to help me better understand myself and understand God. And I quickly realized that they took me away from my life. Those rituals and practices that I was doing were almost burdensome, and they seemed to alienate me from daily life. And when I started to feel this, it's so hard to describe, this all-encompassing connection that I felt with my inner world and the outer world around me, that's when I knew something was shifting for me. And at that point, I was doing urban agriculture. I was learning about food forestry. I think I was in herb school at the time, and I realized, wow, gardening, working with plants, making herbal medicines, this is a spiritual path. This is something that my ancestors did. This is something that future generations hopefully will do. And to that, I started to notice, as I got more on the green path, as I like to say, I started to notice, why is nobody talking about this except for my small circle? Why does this seem to be woo-woo? Why does this seem to be cool, like a trend? And alarm bells started going off, and I started to realize I am from a culture that doesn't honor nature. And we can clearly see that in our society. And that actually really took me leaving the country and being immersed in another culture that was much like my ancestral culture, that is still very close to nature. And that doesn't mean that the modern world isn't encroaching in on these people, but it was just more apparent. And there were festivals that celebrated nature and different seasonal shifts. And I came back home and I was like, oh my gosh, I am surrounded by concrete and metal and glass and wires and electricity, and oh my gosh. So I had a culture shock. And a good friend of mine does like women's mentorship, and she said on her platform, create what you crave. And that always stood out to me. So what I was craving was deeper experiences with a guide or with some sort of guidance that helped me connect my inner spiritual inclinations to what I was experiencing outside in my garden or on a hike or on some sort of trip to another natural place. Like I wanted to bridge something that I felt was real, but I didn't have the way to articulate it. So fast forwarding, I had to find out a lot of these things on my own, and I did a lot of ancestral research. I did a lot of cultural research. I visited many places. I've toured hundreds of gardens. I've talked to all kinds of elders and little ones alike and everyone in between. And it dawned on me that this is my niche, is to help people find themselves through the landscape again. And through that journey, we also heal the landscape. And it's this beautiful cyclical healing process. And that's how the Earth Student was kind of formed, was out of my own personal desire to see the spiritual and the practical and the environmental merge into one. I hope that makes sense. So the Earth Student is filling that niche of bringing people, plants, and place back together again and reuniting us all as family, because we are all relatives in connection to where we live, where we're from, where our ancestry is from, where our children will be from, and how can we tend to these spaces and these very alive places with integrity, and not just seeing, oh, this is just a plant, not just seeing nature as other, but remembering, because it is a memory, because it's ancestral. How can we remember, reunite, come back into symbiosis with the natural world? And that's going to take a massive spiritual shift. So when I started to see that I am a direct reflection of my environment, things started making a lot of sense to me. So how is any of that practical, you might be thinking? Well, gardening is very practical. Making herbal medicines is very practical. You get food, you get medicine, you use all your skills, your science, your math, right? Your writing skills. You are using some of the things from childhood that you might have learned in school, and you're bringing that into the natural world, and then you're bringing the natural world into your home and into your body. And that creates, it's a new culture. We have to create a new culture that is actually quite ancient, yet adapted to these very dystopian modern times. And it can be quite empowering to be able to know the plants that are right outside your house and how they may bring benefit to you. And of course, knowing how can I protect these plants? What do these plants need from me? It's a stewardship, and being a steward is a sacred responsibility. And something that I really viscerally realized last year is that so many cultures and belief systems have something in common. They don't have everything in common. But another thread that I witness is that humans were created in particular to be responsible for the land, for the safekeeping of the land, the plants, the animals, and each other. that is something that unites so many cultures. And I love that cultures are different and we can learn from each other. But that piece right there, that a lot of belief systems shares, that humans were meant to be caretakers, stewards of the earth. We are responsible. Creator entrusted us. That's why we have the consciousness that we do. That's why humans, we create so much. We innovate so much. We create problems, and lots of them, and hopefully we create solutions. And for me, a huge issue that I see is this severe disconnection from the natural world, which subsequently disconnects us from ourselves and from each other and from the past and from the future. And the solution is to provide people with education, yes, but experiences that shift something within our very beings, our core. We need to remember. We need to have experiences that rattle our bones, that fill our lungs with inspiration, that tap into all of our senses. And those are the experiences that propel us forward to learn more about plants and animals and healing the soil and how to grow food and medicine and how to make medicine. And, it is a path. And that's why I call it the green path, because it's a journey and there's always going to be different things that pull at your interests. But in the center is still what pulls you forward, and that's our reuniting with the natural world. Because ultimately humans are nature. Our bodies are made up of nature, but we are bombarded with so much artificial inputs and artificial intelligence and things that are just completely segregating us as human beings from our sacred purpose, from our God-given responsibility, and from our right as human beings. Like, we're equipped with the consciousness and awareness to know. We have a knowing, and that knowing has been entrusted to us by Creator. And I know this. No, don't even try to debate me on it, because this is God-given. This is what Creator entrusted humanity to do, to be in service to life. We have that knowing. We know how to do it. We know what we're doing, but we've forgotten. We have absolutely fallen from grace. And so the Earth Student is just one small solution amongst hopefully many, many more, advocating for you to deepen your intimate connection with nature. How can you do that? By gardening, by making herbal medicines, by listening to the land, by understanding what the soil is telling you, by working with subtle medicine like flower essences that help you reattune your body to the subtle. Because our connection to the subtle has been, I see it like clouded, right? Because there's so much input. TV, media, EMF, people's opinions, going to work, emails, phone calls. So much being bombarded on our systems that our subtle capacities cannot really pick up what they used to be able to pick up. And that's what I want to help you remember, because I'm also remembering, right? So that's a little bit, I don't know if I've ever explained it in those exact words. That felt really powerful for me. So all of that to say, after last year, with everything that happened in 2020, I really thought long and hard, how can I reach more people? I love being in person with people, and I still will continue to do classes and offerings when we can, when we're available. But my schedule happened to get pretty busy working at my Waldorf school and being a gardening and practical arts teacher. And I thought, how can I still reach people? Like, I'm still so passionate. This is still like my every waking thought. How can I help people connect to nature again? And I thought, oh, I will use the internet. I will use devices, right? You use the beast. So we created an Instagram that has been somewhat successful. We have a YouTube channel for the Earth Student with some informational videos. And I just felt like I wasn't getting the exchange of energy that I really wanted from people. I want like deep, I want to know that people are getting it, that people are receiving the information and they're going out and living and having their own lived experiences of the tools and methods that I describe. So I woke up in the middle of the night and had an aha moment. And I created a Patreon. And I'm really excited about it because I want everyone to be able to access it. I want, no matter where you are, where you live, anyone can tap into the Patreon once they have subscribed to a certain tier. We have 3 tiers, I might make a 4th one. Anyone can tap in from anywhere in the world and use this information where they are for their bioregion. And that really ignited something within me because what I share isn't just for my zone, 10B. I do focus a lot on 10B because this is my bioregion. But the elements and energetics and pieces and methods and experiences that I talk about can be applied no matter where you are, right? We're all on the earth. We all are breathing in the same air. We all are cleansing in the same waters. We all have access to fire. We all can connect to spirit. And hopefully we all have access to nature. And that made me really excited to start the Patreon because I knew that I could reach more people, and I also had opportunity to have a deeper connection to the people that want to know more. It's more interactive. So, all that being said, you are invited to check out our Patreon. You can go to patreon.com and type in the Earth Student, and our account should show up. And you can explore the 3 different levels. We have a $5 a month level, a $10 a month level, and a $25 a month level. And I'm really excited about the $10 a month level because that is where we will do more video content, and we'll do live classes, we'll do Q&As, and it will be more interactive. And the $25 a month level is also really cool because you get one-on-one sessions with me every month. And so any of the information that comes out through the previous $5 and $10 a month level, the $25 a month level has access to both of those. And then whatever you're feeling inclined to learn more about, that's what our one-on-one session will be about. So let's say 1 month we specifically cover plant-spirit communication and container gardening and soil ecology. Well, maybe plant-spirit communication really tickled your fancy. So during our one-on-one session, we can go into more depth on that particular subject, or all of them. So that's just something for you to think about when you're looking through the different tiers of support. And it means so much to us because I work really hard on all this content, and nothing makes me more excited than this. It truly feels like I'm trying to do what God's asking me to do, and that's share the good green news. And so, yeah, you're invited to check the Patreon. If you want to understand a little bit more about the Earth Student, maybe I didn't cover something. Of course, you can go to our Instagram where you can see our content from the last 2 years. We have that YouTube channel. I also have a SoundCloud that I made for the Earth Student. Just type in our name and it should come up. And I do nature walk talks when I'm feeling inspired, like a upload or a download is coming through. I usually record it on my phone and share it with whoever wants to listen. So those are ways that you can reach us, and I feel really grateful, really grateful to be able to use technology in this way to inspire more people to connect to the land, and hopefully getting folks to realize that it's our spiritual birthright and responsibility to tend to the land in a devotional and reverential way. And in that act, it is tapping into our ancestry, and it is also ensuring a better future, hopefully, for our children. And it's also reorienting our hearts that are so confused because this world is absolutely bonkers crazy right now, reorienting us to what is true, what is good, what is reliable, and that is nature. So I hope you join me. I hope this all made sense. And of course, if you ever have questions, you can email me at theearthstudent@gmail.com with seeds of gratitude from my heart to yours. Bye. Oh, I didn't press stop. Bye.